Hey guys, and welcome to Year 4 of the Peteytown Piranhas, a college football 26 team builder dynasty. In this episode, we'll be going over the initial recruiting board, looking at the schedule, and we're going to be taking a look at our team before we head into 3 matchups that I'll go over when I go over the schedule. And as you can see up top, we are ranked number 18, the first time we're going to enter a season ranked, so very exciting times. And we're going to see if we can get past the first round of the college football playoff in this season, but first we got to get there. So here's how the schedule is going to play out for the Piranhas. In this episode, we're going to be taking on FC East, then opening Mountain West Conference play with Air Force, and then finishing off at Kent State. And then after that, we're going to be doing Utah State, San Jose State, Northwestern, New Mexico, Wyoming, a rivalry game against Pitt, UNLV, Nevada, and closing the season with Colorado State. Our recruiting board is looking very interesting, especially at the top. We got a few 5 stars with Jabari Raymond, Maurice Joy, Raheem Pryor, and Rudy Brownlee. Then we got some gem cornerbacks with Zach McGarrigle and Jaden Morrison, and they have very interesting physical abilities, as Jaden's got 94 speed and 92 acceleration, 91 change of direction, and 91 agility, and we can work on his coverages, but just that athleticism really jumps off the page. And Zach McGarrigle's got 94 speed, 92 excel as well, and he's got 89 change of direction, 91 agility as well, and a bit better on the man coverage. So really intrigued with their athletic abilities and see what we can do to get them. You also got gem wide receiver Lorenzo Regis with 93 speed and 90 acceleration, and pretty solid route running as well. You got medium, deep, and release of 80, and short route at 76, so really intriguing prospect here. And then flipping over to linebackers, you got Gem Sean Leonhardt, and he's got some good athleticism, and he's got good zone coverage for a thumper, and pursuit is pretty good, so really seeing if we can upgrade on offense and defense, especially on defense with these guys. And then you got another gem with halfback Oscar Rivas. He's an elusive bruiser with 91 speed, and just a lot of gems at the top here and really high quality guys, so really trying to get some talent on this team past when we got some guys graduating and everything this year, so really just trying to build for the future for now. And we got some quarterback prospects to look at with athlete dual threat DeMarco Blade with 96 throw power and above 82 accuracies on all his accuracies, and 88 speed, 89 acceleration, so even if he ends up being a normal dev, he's still got some great base stats. Then you got this quarterback option with Alan Johansson. He's got 93 throw power and okay accuracy. He's got to work on the deep accuracy, but just very solid. Something else I wanted to go over going into this season is that we got 2 new coordinators. So for Ty Davidson, he's an elite recruiter, and as you can see, he's got really great recruiting things, especially on offense. He's on tier 4 for everything here. He even gives us a boost on the kickers and a little bit on the defensive line as well. Then you go down to the elite recruiter tab, and he's got some things for quarterback, and he's really focused on the skill spots with the running backs and the receivers and tight ends. And he even has a little bit for linebackers, so I think we're getting some really nice boosts from him. And then on the defensive side of things, you got Stan Durbin, and he's got a tiny bit in recruiting, so he can scout all these positions nicely, and he's even got a little bit of starting interest for defensive linemen. Stan Durbin also has gone down the motivator tab, and he's really, for a defensive coordinator, he's got a bunch into the quarterback, so that's nice, and a little bit on running backs, and a little bit on the offensive line. And you go over to the defensive side, and you'll get off-season training boosts with the defensive line and linebackers, and just a little boost here and on specialists. So I think overall these guys help us cover some bases. We'll see if I stick with them going forward, but for now they help us round out our coaching staff. And here are the Peteytown Piranhas who will be taking the field for us this season. We come in with a team overall of 89, and our best player is quarterback Pete Manning with his 98 overall. And when you look at the national rankings for quarterbacks, we see that Pete Manning is actually the best quarterback in the country, so that's really exciting for the team. So here we have the depth chart. Of course, Pete Manning will be leading us at quarterback. He'll be backed up by Pete. We're going to return our dangerous halfback duo of Pete A. Caruso and Juju Johnson from last season. We're also going to add Peteytown Grant in the mix because he's going to take over the power halfback role, and I felt like last year we were kind of not really making things happen on the goal line with our runs, but he's a contact seeker archetype, so hopefully he can help us out with that this season. Returning at fullback will be junior Kane Burr. Here for his senior season is superstar wide receiver Pete Ackler, and he'll have Sharon White Jr. and Ryan Boyd behind him, as well as two freshmen Nick Cummins and James Bickley looking to make an impact. Two-time John Mackey Award winner Bianca Croning will be returning for us at tight end, and he'll be backed up once again by Kyrie Toon. At left tackle, we'll have very important transfer Tavares Boykins, and as you can see, he's got a lot of abilities, and he's an 88 overall, 89 when we move him to left tackle, so we're really hoping that he can protect Pete Manning's blind side. At left guard will be another transfer, Colin Cubberly. At center, you guessed it, another transfer, Jesse Amano, but he's only a sophomore, so we got him when he was pretty young, so hopefully we can keep him around to build him up. Right guard is homegrown guy Ben Hickson with his star dev. And finally at right tackle we'll have Joey Ruse, and he rounds out an offensive line where everybody is at least 80 overall, so I'm hoping that can really provide a boost to our offense. Moving over to defense, you got the record breaker Peter Latagoski coming off the left edge, and his partner in crime will be Tadarius Collins. And at defensive tackle, you got the big man Jordan Crawford and Kevon King. And we got a defensive line where everybody is at least an 80 overall, so really looking for them to build on what they did last season. At linebacker, we made some upgrades with John Kamara coming in at the Sam spot. And then at the Mike spot is Anthony Kaufman returning his 8 interceptions from last year, so hopefully he can continue to be a leader for us there. And then at the Will spot, we're going to have Earl Biggs. Our best defensive player is cornerback Charles Lester III, and Cameron Keys will be on his other side. And Charles is also going to serve as our slot cornerback, so that means that Daryl Hollis will have a big role as well when he comes out in those nickel packages where Charles is manning the slot. At free safety is our returning guy, Peter Eris. And at strong safety will be our first 5-star in program history, George Emanuel. He was just the best option for the strong safety role, and you know, if you don't get those 5 stars playing time, they'll want to leave, so wanted to get him out there as quickly as possible. And he really has great athleticism, so while he's working his way through learning the game with us, that athleticism might cover up for a lot of different things. We're going to be returning kicker Petey Boy. And Denzel Brahms comes back to do our punting duties. Juju Johnson will handle the third down role once again for us. I'm also going to be having Pete Ackler man the slot position for us, so I'm going to see how this works. I'm going to be watching the games and seeing if he's getting targets and everything, but if it gets a little wonky, I'll adjust things, but I think he's going to be dynamic in that role, and really the game plan is to get him the ball as much as possible. So getting to the first week of the regular season, some updates on the recruiting on these top tier guys. We got a couple of first place, a second place, and then we're getting into the battle for Rudy Brownlee. Then for the gem cornerbacks, we're in first and second for them. And then for the gem receiver, second place. And for this gem will linebacker in first place. And first place for the running back. But as you can see, the 2 quarterbacks have already locked us out, so we're going to have to go in a different direction there. For our first game against FCS East, I'll probably just end up showing some highlights, some scoring highlights and things of that nature, just because I don't foresee us having too much difficulty with them. So here we go, let's start year 4.
Let's see if they try it again.
Bubble screen out there, and it's going to be Ryan Boyd to get into the end zone for the first touchdown of the season for the Peteytown Piranhas. Nice little bubble screen action there off the RPO. Blocks lined up very well, and the Piranhas are in the end zone. Stretch out to Pete A. Caruso, and he's going to get around the edge, and he's going to get a big run. Pete A. Caruso is going to use all of his speed to get into the end zone. So the Piranhas came out on that drive, and on the first play, Pete A. Caruso gets a huge run, and the Piranhas are going to go up 14-0. We are going to do a pass out to Bianca Croning, and Bianca's in the end zone. The Piranhas are going to go up 21-0 in an easy breezy game against FCS East. Pete A. Caruso is going to stop on a dime and easily get into the end zone for his second touchdown of the game. Pete Manning is going to fire into the end zone, and it's going to be a possession catch touchdown for Juju Johnson. And the Peteytown Piranhas are going to go up 35-0 in the first half. Pete Manning throws an interception to FCS East, trying to throw the ball to Pete Ackler, and they're going to take advantage of it. And here comes the first sack of the season for the Peteytown Piranhas. It's to Darius Collins. Took a little while because they like to run the triple option, so they don't pass a lot, but that time we finally get to their quarterback.
Looking for a man. It's Manning.
Pete Manning fires a strike over there, and Juju Johnson gets away, and he's going to get into the end zone. What an incredible individual effort there by Juju Johnson, and he's got his second receiving touchdown of the game. And Pete Manning has thrown his second interception of the game, again trying to force it to Pete Ackler, and FCS East almost returns it all the way for a touchdown, but we get him down before he got there. And there's FCS East scoring the touchdown right after the interception, so they're going to make it 42-7. And we are going to find our receiver, and he's going to get the touchdown. Nice strike and bounce back from Pete Manning, and Ryan Boyd is going to get into the end zone once again. Pete Manning is going to throw a strike to the end zone, and he's got another touchdown pass, this time to Sharon White Jr. And we're going to go up 56-7. And I'm going to be bringing the backups in soon. Just sometimes when you try to do the backups too early, then your third stringers get in, and then the depth chart gets all kind of wonky, so I just want to make sure it's a clean operation as far as that's concerned. So the backups were able to tack on another touchdown to get us a 63-7 win to open our season against FCS East. Really happy with what the guys did today, outside of a couple turnovers from Pete Manning. But other than that, really can't complain about our effort today. Time for some stats from our first game. We had 596 yards on offense, 202 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Then we had 394 yards through the air, only converted on 2 of 6 third downs, but not a lot to convert, so we'll take that anytime when we're putting up the points in yards. And unfortunately, Pete Manning had those 2 interceptions. Pete Manning will be the first guy to tell you that he wasn't at his best out there, but if he's not at his best, we'll take 383 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions as the floor any day of the week, and he was also sacked once. Pete A. Caruso used his speed to his advantage with 11 carries, 148 yards, and 2 touchdowns, while Peteyton Grant had 9 carries for 64 yards. Ryan Boyd really broke out in this one with 7 catches, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns, while Bianca Croning got 6 for 67 and a touchdown, and Juju Johnson came out of the backfield for 2 catches, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and Sharon White Jr. got in on the fun with 4 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. John Camaro was making the plays on defense. We didn't really see much of them because not a lot was really happening other than triple options that were getting blown up behind the line or for little gain. and he had 11 tackles and a tackle for a loss. There were more sacks counted in this one than I thought, but sometimes it gets a little skewed with the read options and RPO plays, what counts as a sack and everything. So officially the stats say that Charles Hardy got 1.5 sacks, Jordan Crawford and Tadarius Collins each had a sack, and Spider-Man had a half a sack. In recruiting, we got 2 guys in their top 5 with Zach McGarrigle and Jaden Morrison. So for Zach, we are going with the double soft sell strategy, seeing which one of those cells is his. And then for Jaden Morrison, we're going to go full on hard sell with this one. Could possibly be another one, but the grades are a lot worse, so really if it's not this one, then it's not really looking good for us anyway, so we're just going to try it and see what happens. Now it's time to open up Mountain West Conference play against Air Force with their 74 overall, so we got to be ready to open conference play with a bang. 3rd down and 1 for the Piranhas. We are going to just get it out there to Bianca Croning, and he gets the blocks perfectly lined up, and he gets us all the way down to the 33-yard line. Pete A. Caruso runs through a crease in the offensive line, and he's going to get it into their red zone. From the 18-yard line now, we're going to run it again with Pete A. Caruso, and he gets a nice little juke to get him the 1st down. 3rd down and goal for the Peteytown Piranhas. Pete Manning's going to drop back, fire it, and we're going to get the touchdown. That is Bianca Croning getting into the end zone again, and the Peteytown Piranhas are going to open up conference play with a touchdown drive. Here comes a 3rd down and 9 for Air Force. We're going to drop back and throw it right over the top of our defense on a very accurate ball to their star, and they're going to get the 1st down. Here's a triple option, and they get the pitch out to their halfback, and he's going to blow through the tackle of our defender. He's going to get it into our area of the field. Here's 3rd down and 4 for Air Force. They're going to send their guy in motion and use the triple option, and this time we're not going to give him the chance to pitch it out as Peter Latagoski brings him down. Nice little pop pass to Bianca Croning is going to get us a nice big gain. Hand off to Pete A. Caruso, and he's going to find a lane, and he's going to get us a nice gain. Play action for Pete Manning, and it's going to be tossed over the middle of the field to Pete Ackler, and he's got us a nice big play. We're going to hand it off to Pete A. Caruso, and he's got the seam that he needs to get it into the end zone. So Pete A. Caruso puts together another touchdown for himself. That's already 3 on the young season. And we are rolling now as we're up 14-0. Here's a pass for the quarterback, and he's going to throw a strike to his receiver for the 1st down. And we're going to shut it down this time with Charles Lester III. Coming out in the gun now. Here comes Air Force tossing it out to their running back, and he's got nowhere to go as we combine for the tackle. 3rd down and 18 for Air Force. They're going to drop back. Their quarterback's going to step up and find the guy in the seam, and they're going to get another 1st down. Speed option now, and their quarterback has a lane, and he is going to score. So Air Force's offense is proving a little bit tricky for us, running a lot of motions and misdirections and things, and their quarterback just was like a bolt of lightning out of there to get the touchdown. So quickly 3rd down and 13 for the Piranhas on their following drive. Pete Manning's going to drop back to pass, throw it over the middle, and it's an interception. And Air Force is going to have it with great field position in our territory. Pete Manning has usually been taking care of the ball in his career, but that's his 3rd interception early on this season, so a little bit of a concern for our quarterback right now with turnover issues. Another carry, and it's another TFL, and we are going to put him on a 3rd and 14. 3rd and 14 for Air Force. They are just going to run with their quarterback, and we let him go again as he uses his speed to get to the outside. Some motion from their halfback as it's going to be the triple option again. We're going to read it nicely. Peter Latagoski forces him out of bounds. 3rd down and 12 here for Air Force. They're just going to hand it off, and we're going to blow it up this time. Here comes a field goal from Air Force. They're going to put up the kick, and it is through the uprights. So the defense managed to just hold them to a field goal after that sudden change on the interception. So we're still going to maintain a little lead. We are going to float one out there into the soft spot of their zone. That time Pete Manning dissected their coverage perfectly. We're going to get a big gain out of it. 3rd down and 4 for the Piranhas, just on their side of the 50. Pete Manning is going to throw it quickly out to Pete Ackler, and he's got the slant for the 1st down. High formation action on 2nd down. It's going to be a handoff to Pete Caruso, and he's going to spin his way for a nice gain just outside their red zone. From the 20-yard line now, the Piranhas are looking to strike here, and it's going to be Pete Ackler on a nice grab to make it 3rd and inches. Pete Manning is going to fire to Pete Ackler again, and we're going to get the 1st down. 1st down and goal here for the Piranhas. Pete Manning drops back. It is going to be a touchdown. Nice find from him. And it's going to be Pete Ackler in the end zone for the 1st time this season. And we are going to go up 21-10. Pass here from Air Force, and he's going to go nowhere as Tadarius Collins and Peter Latagoski get him for the sack. 3rd down and 14 for Air Force. They're going to drop back. He's got the time. We got somebody there, and he's just going to go down after a scramble. Just under a minute left. The Piranhas have just 1 timeout, so Pete Manning is going to throw it over to the sideline for Pete Ackler. Pete Manning is going to try a deep ball, and it's a dangerous one, and it's another interception for Pete Manning. You know, we gave him all these accuracies, and he's trying to show off his arm, but just not good decisions from our quarterback in the early going of this season. Here comes Air Force, and he's getting chased down by Peter Latagoski. Trying another play before the end of the half, but Tadarius Collins forces a fumble, and they're going to recover it. So that's going to be how the 1st half ends. Drop back to pass for Air Force, and he is going to be swallowed up, and he's going to fumble, and this time we're going to pick it up, and it's Jordan Crawford on the scoop and score. So we get a big man TD as our pass rush has really come alive on them now, and they just have no answer for it, and their quarterback can't hold on to the ball, and it'll be a defensive score. After that strip sack for a TD, the defense got a 3 and out, so the offense is back out here, and it's 2nd down and 8. Pete Manning is going to throw a strike, and it's caught by Sharon White Jr. Here we are in empty again for Pete Manning. He's going to throw, and it's going to be a wide open player. That's Juju Johnson on the catch. Inside their 10-yard line on 2nd and goal. Pete Manning is going to toss it, and he's got an open receiver, and he's going to get into the end zone. And I believe that is Nick Cummins for his 1st touchdown of his career. Here's a wide toss out, and they got what they needed on that one. They just caught us unawares for a big gain. Here's a play-action pass, and he delivers a strike as he got hit. What a throw by their quarterback. It's 3rd down and 7, just inside the 40 for Air Force. They're going to send a man in motion, and their quarterback is going to float it to absolutely nobody. We're going to get off the field. Oh no, they're going to do a field goal attempt here. They're going to do it from 56 yards out. And the kick is up. And it is no good, so the defense manages to hold after that big run, and we're going to take over. After that defensive stop, it's 3rd down and 3 for the Piranhas. Pete Manning's got a clean pocket, and he delivers a softball in between 2 defenders for a nice gain. Pete Manning is going to throw his 3rd interception of the game as he was trying to hit a deep ball. I just Can't really explain some of these decisions he's making today. 3rd down and 7 for Air Force. They're sending a man in motion. He's dropping back, and our guy gets flipped over as he rolls out and makes a nice throw, and their receiver makes a tough catch. Oh, instant backfield pressure from Tadarius Collins for a 4-yard loss. There's a speed option, and their quarterback is going to get around the edge again and make a spin move to get a little extra yards. Triple option, they get the pitch out, and they got space to work with as it's going to be another 1st down just outside of our red zone. Read option, and their blocker comes in at just the right time to spring their quarterback free, and somehow they didn't give him the touchdown on that one. He's going to be down at the inch line. From the half-inch line, the Air Force Falcons are looking to punch it in, and they will pretty easily with a quarterback run straight up the middle, and that's going to make it 35-17. Air Force stopped our offense pretty quickly, but they're here on a 3rd down and 10. They're going to find their guy over the middle of the field for a 9-yard gain. They're going to go for it here on 4th down and 1. In their heavy look, their quarterback is just going to sneak it for the 1st down. Drop back for the quarterback, and our pressure is coming in, and it gets home, as that is, I'm actually not sure who that is. Oh, Byron Leon is going to get in there for the sack. Here comes a power read, and their quarterback is going to throw it, and he's got a guy open, and he gets behind our defenders, and they are going to score the touchdown. So Air Force is not out of this game yet, and it's going to be 35-24. Pete Manning is going to fire over the middle of the field, and we are going to get the 1st down. Pete Ackler in motion, and it's going to be caught by Pete A. Caruso for the 1st down. Pete Manning is going to fire downfield to Pete Ackler, and he spins off of a tackle, and Pete Ackler is going to get us into the end zone. So that should really squash any comeback attempt from Air Force, as our best receiver makes a fantastic play to get himself into the end zone. Here comes a screen from Air Force, and that's going to get absolutely blown up by John Camara. 3rd down and 15 for the Air Force Falcons. They're going to drop back to pass, and they're going to try a deep ball. We got 2 guys over there, and it's going to be an absolutely fantastic interception by Peter Eris, and he is going to bring it all the way back to the 21-yard line. Just a fantastic play by our free safety, and that'll seal this one up. So after that interception, we tacked on a field goal with Petey Boy, and we ended up getting a 45-24 victory over Air Force to begin our conference play. And, you know, it was kind of a weird game. The defense gave up some scores, and Pete Manning had a tough time with turning the ball over. We made some very nice plays on offense, and some on defense with a couple of turnovers. So, you know, we'll take the victory, but some things to work on for the future. Here's how the stats look for our win against Air Force. We had 415 yards to their 343. We had 94 yards and a touchdown to their 134 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Then moving down to the passing game, we had 321 to their 209. They converted on 5 of 13 third downs while we were 5 for 8. And they had 3 turnovers while we also had 3 turnovers, so a bit of a sloppy game on both sides of the ball. Pete Manning had 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 just very questionable interceptions, so I'm not really enjoying this trend so far in the beginning of the season. But he wasn't sacked today, so that's nice. Pete A. Caruso had 22 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. After being quiet in the first game, Pete Ackler had 9 catches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Bianca Croning had 5 for 65 and a touchdown, and Sharon White Jr. had 4 for 54. And Nick Cummins had his first touchdown of his career. Tadarius Collins led the way with 13 tackles and 9 tackles for a loss, while John Camara was behind him with 11 tackles and 5 tackles for a loss. For sacks, Darius Collins got in there 2.5 times, while Peter Latagoski and Byron Leon each had a sack, and Nathan Brockermeyer got in there for half a sack. And we saw that interception from Peter Eris. There was also an interception by Cameron Keys when the camera was off. That really just sealed the game because it was their final play of the game, and we just kneeled on it after that. And Darius Collins was credited with both forced fumbles today, and we all know that Jordan Crawford picked one of those up for the score. And Petey Boy hit his only field goal of the day for 32 yards. For his tremendous effort in our previous game, Darius Collins got the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week. And Darius was also the National Defensive Player of the Week, so congratulations to him. A lot of moving parts in recruiting now, as right tackle Raheem Pryor is in the top 5, and we are hard selling him. We have Zach McGarrigill's hard sell going now after soft selling him twice, and we got a nice lead on him. Our hard sell for Jaden Morrison is giving us a little boost, but Penn State is right on our tail. Lorenzo Regis is being hard sold now, and we need it because Ohio State is in front of us. And we are getting a nice hard sell with Sean Leonhardt, and we only got Syracuse behind us, but we got a pretty good lead on him before the hard sell takes place, so I think that'll just increase the boost for him. And another hard sell is going to Oscar Rivas, who we have over Maryland right now. Here's where the points are starting to get a little thin after we went through our top guys. Charlie Cahill's getting the 2020 soft sell on 2 things here, so we'll see what it ends up being and see if it can help us in our battle against Oklahoma. And we only have enough points to soft sell Nick Kurtz right now and DM him, and we are trailing Penn State, so I don't know if that's going to be enough. Unfortunately, we're running out of points for Marquis Darrisaw right now, and I don't really want to take any off of somebody else, so we're just hoping that battle can survive until we can get some more points, but it's not looking good for that. Now it's time for our first away game of the season against Kent State, and they come in with a 62 overall, so I feel like we should handle them pretty good here. Here's a pass, and he is going to be absolutely crunched by Peter Latagoski and Kevon King. 3rd down and 15 for Kent State. They're going to drop back, and pressure's coming in again, but he's going to try a deep ball, and it is intercepted. And it's going to be an illegal forward pass, so we're probably just going to decline that penalty after the interception, and the Peteytown Piranhas are going to take over. Here comes Peteyton Grant, and he absolutely trucks a defender over for the 1st down. Double stack on 2nd and 11 for the Piranhas, and it's going to free up the space for Pete A. Caruso to juke his way to a 1st down. 3rd down and 2 for the Piranhas. Pete Manning is going to fire it quickly to Pete Ackler. He throws a little behind him, but it's good enough for the 1st down. Pete Manning over the middle of the field, and Bianca Croning just exploded out of his route there, and he's going to glide into the end zone for the touchdown. Here comes a drop back, and he drops a little too far back as he's going to go down again, thanks to Darius Collins and friends. 3rd down and 21. We bring some pressure, and it forces him to throw it sooner than he wanted, and it's going to be incomplete. Here comes Pete Manning finding his drag over the middle, and we're going to get a 1st down with Jerome Wright Jr. Kent State is lined offsides, but we're going to ignore that and just get a nice pass out to Bianca Croning. And Bianca Croning is going to make another catch for a 1st down from a heavy I formation. We are going to send Pete Ackler in motion. And Pete Manning will drop back to pass and find Pete Ackler for the touchdown, his 2nd of the season. And we are going to go up 14-0 on Kent State. After that touchdown drive by us, both offenses have failed to do anything, so Kent State is back on the field now, and they're going to run a little stretch play and absolutely truck us for the 1st down. Little power read, and Jake Arkin is going to get into the backfield for the sack. Nice play by him. Just staying patient and staying with the quarterback. One thing I'm noticing is that Peter Latagoski hasn't really been out there. I checked the injury report, and there's nobody on there, so maybe just some wear and tear that he's dealing with. Anyway, back to the action. They're going to be getting a 7-yard completion there. Empty backfield, we're going to send pressure, and he forces it out quick, and we're able to cover him before he gets a first down. We're going to hand it off to Juju Johnson, and he gets stuck up a little bit, but he bounces out of it to give us first down yardage. Pete Manning is going to fire quickly, seeing pressure coming, and he's going to get our freshman James Bickley on that catch. Pete Manning is going to pull it out of the RPO, and we're going to get a first down with Sharon White Jr. Just inside the 30-yard line now on second down. We're going to send a guy in motion. Pete Manning is going to float it to Pete Ackler, and he just nabs that out of the air for the first down. Pete Manning is going to hit Bianca Croning quickly. He read the coverage nicely. From the 5-yard line, it's first down and goal for the Piranhas. Pete Manning's going to drop back. He's going to fire, and coming back to the ball for the touchdown is Sharon Wright Jr. So just a nice job by our receiver helping out our quarterback by coming back to the ball, and we are going to go up 21-0. The Golden Flashes are probably wishing they hadn't scheduled us for this game, and they're going to get a first down run there. A read option absolutely fakes us out, and they're going to get the first down again. The action here for Kent State. They're going to float it out there in a very nice, accurate pass from their quarterback to get it into our territory. And they're going to fire over the middle of the field, and it's a big hit from Peter Eris, but they're going to hang on to it anyway. From our 14-yard line, Kent State's going to hand it off. Their blocks line up nicely on our guys, and we're going to push them into the end zone, and Kent State is finally on the board as it's 21-7. Pete Manning is going to launch a ball, and it is caught by our receiver out there. What a play. Unbelievable play there from Ryan Boyd. He just went past 2 defenders on that one, and Pete Manning used all of his arm strength on that play. After that huge pass play to Ryan Boyd, it's 3rd down and 10. Pete Manning is looking, and he is going to fire to the corner, and we got a touchdown. That's going to be Bianca Croning again, and we are going to go up 28-7. Pete Manning, after some struggles with turnovers early on in this season, has looked absolutely fantastic in this game. Surgical, just finding his open guys and looking like the 98 overall quarterback we know him to be. Action for Kent State, and the pressure is going to crunch him as it's Tadarius Collins and I believe Byron Leon on the sack. 3rd down and 15 for Kent State. They are going to launch a deep ball, and it is knocked away. Gotta love our defense getting a 3-and-out after a touchdown drive, but we're here on 3rd down and 10 near midfield. Pete Manning is looking, and he's going to hit our guy, and he's going to get a big gain. It's Ryan Boyd again making plays. Pete Manning is here, standing in the pocket. He's got Pete Ackler. He's going to try a juke move, and he's going to get us into their red zone. Pete Manning looking. He's going to float it out there to a wide open man, and it is Sharon Wright Jr. again. And just like last drive, Pete Manning is just absolutely dealing in this game. And Kent State is just running around like SpongeBob meme, where he's just in the brain and SpongeBob's are running around everywhere with everything on fire. Here comes Pete Manning. He's just going to swing it out there to Pete Caruso, and he's going to get the first down. Peteytown Caruso is going to run a man over to get the first down. And we are going to go with the pop pass to Bianca Croning, and it's a perfect pass from Pete Manning. Just floated it right over the defender's head to get it to Bianca Croning, and we are threatening again. 3rd down and 4 for the Peteytown Piranhas. Pete Manning is going to take it. He is going to fire, and it's Pete Ackler, and he's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown. Just a absolutely flawless day here for the offense. We're up 42-7. 3rd down and 14 for Kent State. They're going to drop back. We're going to bring pressure. They're going to fire it out quickly, but it is knocked away. Nice play. Peteytown Caruso is going to get some space to run for the first down. Pete Manning's going to find Pete Ackler wide open over the middle of the field to get us into their red zone yet again. Pete Manning on a read option now, and he's going to run for a first down. That's how you know things are going well. And they're also going to have a flag on that one for being offsides. Pete Manning's going to find Bianca, who tries to reach for it but can't quite get there. It's going to be a handoff for Juju Johnson, and he's going to dive into the end zone for the 49-7 lead. And at this point, I'm just going to let the 3rd quarter play out with the starters and then get our backups in there, but that's going to be all she's going to write for this game. So we added another score in the 4th quarter, and we got the 56-10 win over Kent State in what was an insane showing by our offense in this one, and our defense locked them down as well, so just very impressive win for the Piranhas. Let's look at some stats now, shall we? We had 571 yards of offense to their 218. We also had 106 rushing yards and a touchdown to their 42 rushing yards and a touchdown. And we had 465 yards passing to their 176. We were 6 of 9 on 3rd down, nice, and 1 for 10 for Kent State. And we kept the ball away from them with 0 turnovers. Pete Manning bounced back in the biggest way possible from those early interception troubles to get 445 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, and 1 sack, so just incredible game from our quarterback. With the passing game clicking so well, we didn't do a whole lot rushing, but Peteytown Caruso led the way with 9 carries and 56 yards, and Juju Johnson got a rushing touchdown. Bianca Croning led the way with 10 catches, 145 yards, and 3 touchdowns, while Ryan Boyd had 6 for 108, and Pete Ackler had 9 catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and Sharon White Jr. had 8 catches, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. On defense, Darryl Hollis led the way with 7 tackles. For sacks, Charles Hardy actually came in and got 1.5, while Kavon King had 1.5. Jake Arkin had 1, and Tadarius Collins and Byron Leon also had 1. And Walter Lyles had half a sack, and Peter Latagoski had half a sack. And I realized after the game why Peter Latagoski wasn't out there. I had switched things around with the depth chart, and for whatever reason, the computer or the game decided to just switch things back, so he was no longer in the rushing end position that I had him in, so just got to make sure that I put him there for next time. And Cameron Keys came away with a nice interception. I couldn't tell who the interception was, but it was Cameron Keys. So a lot going on in this episode, but we're going to end it here, and in our next episode we are going to be taking on Utah State, San Jose State, and Northwestern. So got an interesting 3-game stretch coming up. So I'll see you guys in the next video.